Father Michael Brehl, newly elected Superior General of the Redemptorists, a Canadian. Welcome to Salt and Light Television. I'm so happy you can find some time to meet with us before you take up your new residence in Rome.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
You were elected on November the 4th of 2009 as the Superior General of a major religious congregation in the world. Over 5,000 members. What's going through your mind right now?
Well, my head still spins from the thought of it. What does go through my mind right now when I think about it? It's an incredible honor. It's a real privilege to be entrusted with this responsibility. I'm thrilled with the council that I've got because they're a great group of men. And I look at what do we do in the next 6 years to continue to bring the message of St. Alphonsus and the Redemptorists into a new, changed world, a very different world from the world in which he lived. So that's kind of what's all going through my mind. How do I get started?
The Canadians certainly know the Redemptorists through St. Anne de Beaupré in Quebec, through your wonderful work in Toronto, and also through the Ukrainian Redemptorists from the Yorkton province in Western Canada. So you're not a stranger to us.
Right.
But you are the first Canadian Superior General of this order, which was founded in 1732. That's a very significant thing. You mentioned St. Alphonsus Liguori. Who was he, and what is his relevance for us today?
St. Alphonsus Liguori was a Neapolitan nobleman who was born in 1696 and founded the congregation in 1732. He was a lawyer, and he wanted, through the law courts, to really make a difference in the world, to bring the values of the gospel into the society in which he lived. He found that he was disillusioned and that it was much more difficult to make the impact he would have liked to make at that time, going through the ordinary means. So he felt a call to the priesthood, to the abandoned, to the poor. Where I think he's particularly relevant for us today is that his whole life then became dedicated to bringing good news to people who had not heard the gospel as good news. He did it through preaching, he did it through moral theology, he did it through music and writing, and so the use of mass communication, social media, all that kind of thing.
He'd be very much at home here, I think.
I think he would. I think he'd be very at home here. And so I think he still has something to say to us about how this message is such good news that we have to use everything in our power to communicate it to people, and especially to people on the margins, people on the edge, who may not have heard really how deep and wonderful God's love and God's redemption is.
I'm glad you mentioned that because the theme of your congregation, the motto, is taken from Psalm 130. With him is found the fullness of redemption.
Yes.
It's a beautiful line. It's one of the first psalms I learned in Latin, and that motto, I realized just the past few days, is your motto.
Yeah.
But also, you chose the name for your congregation, St. Alphonsus did, your predecessor in the job.
Yes.
The name of the Redeemer, Congregatio Sanctissimi Redemptoris. It wasn't called the Congregation of Jesus, the Society of Jesus, we know who they are, or the Society of the Messiah, the Society of the Lord, but of the Redeemer. What does that mean for you, and what is the significance of the Society, the Redeemer for us today, of redemption?
Well, the notion of the Redeemer and the notion of redemption, if we talk about the person, I think it's always a little bit easier. The notion of the Redeemer is the one who's going out to look for the lost, the one who's going out to bring them back, the one who's bringing good news to people who wouldn't have heard it or wouldn't know it otherwise. If you follow the whole biblical tradition of the Redeemer in Israel, God is their Redeemer when they are most in need. Not because they deserve it, not because somebody else is oppressing them unjustly, simply because they're in need. God goes and stands by their side. Jesus, the Redeemer, comes to stand by our side because we're in need. We need him. And so that's where Alphonsus took it. So many people need to know somebody's on their side, somebody's with them, sharing their suffering, their hopes, their longings. And that's how St. Alphonsus pictured Jesus. He's with people. And he wanted Redemptorists to do the same.
It's a beautiful concept. You know, I teach the Old Testament and the New Testament, but I was